So good afternoon everyone, welcome to our shed session, episode number 3. Today we're with motorsport legend of Tasmania, Mr Bob Mclachlan, who's invited us to his shed for the day to have a bit of a yak and talk about his career in motorsport and of course the magnificent piece of machinery we've got behind us here. To start off with, we'll just ask Bob a few questions and then we'll talk about a few other things. So Bob, welcome to the show.
Welcome to you.
Whereabouts did you grow up, mate?
Coburg in Melbourne.
Yeah, right. Eh? How long was you over there before you come to Tassie?
Shifted here in 57.
1957. So you've been
after
in
the Olympic Games.
Yeah, right. Eh? Yeah. So you've been in Tassie quite a while then.
My mother passed away, and Dad was a technician with the PMG, and he transferred to Kelso here on the Tamer.
Yep.
And that's how I come to get over here.
Right. Like the place?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose that's why you've stayed here for so long. I suppose. When did you first become interested in motorsport, mate? At what age?
Well, when I could first walk, I think. Because my father worked at, my father rode speedway bikes, solos and sidecars at the old Maribyrnong Speedway in Melbourne.
Yeah, right, Yep.
And I grew up going and watching him and my eldest brother, he raced motorbikes too.
Yeah, right, So very popular back in them days then.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And the bikes they used to ride back in the day.
Yeah, well, I've got Dad's old Douglas motorbike that I'm restoring, so.
Yeah. And how many cc's is that old girl?
600.
600, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And needed big brass ones back then to ride those sort of things, didn't you?
Big balls.
What division did you start in, Bob?
Started with an FJ.
FJ, yeah.
Should have had any backside kick because the FJ never had a speck of rust in it. Within 3 days after I bought it, I had it stripped out and barred out.
Yeah, right.
So,
so she was too good to put on the speedway, but it's going on the speedway.
Never pulled the glass out, just hit it with a hammer and tipped it out.
Yep. Cool. So you started in, what division did you start in back in the day?
78 in sedans, it was known then.
And which
or
track?
Stock cars at Latrobe.
At Latrobe, yeah.
I joined the Latrobe club.
So she would have been dirt back then?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, cool. What other divisions did you race in over the years?
Super modifieds. When I got out of the sedan, I used the motor out of the FJ in my super modified. Tim Moncrief approached me and said, we're starting a new division of super modifieds, what about joining us?
Yep.
So yeah, I jumped at it.
Yeah, I reckon, especially with a bloke like that.
Yeah, as long as it had a bit of noise in it. And
you was keen on it.
I was keen.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
I said to my wife, hey, I've got to have one of these.
Yep, and all went from there.
Yeah.
What was your favourite division that you did race?
Super sedans.
Yeah, right. Why was that, mate?
I don't really know. Perhaps because it was the bigger. I had a 366 cubic inch motor in it.
Yep.
And man, that'd go.
Yeah, right.
Jump on the gas, it'd just. You had to hang on tight.
Hang on tight and hang on for a good ride.
Yeah.
And were they methanol back then?
Methanol, yeah.
Injection or carburetor?
No, that was carburetor.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of them back in those days had injection too, didn't they?
Yeah. No, that was carburetor.
Yeah, I remember when I grew up around, when I first started going to Speedway, I used to see these big flutes coming up out of the bonnet, and they used to sound absolutely awesome compared to what they are nowadays. Like, they still sound good nowadays, but I think back then was the best sort of form of racing themselves.
Yeah, when I was racing super modifieds, there was a guy from Smithton, I can't think of his name now, but he came down to the pits one Saturday afternoon, as it was those days in the afternoons, that everyone started singing out, have a look whatever his name is, he's got injection on it. And we all run over, and what he had was 6 or 8 lengths of vacuum cleaner pipe, all stuck together on the bonnet.
Yeah, righto, that's... Yeah.
Sucked us right in.
Yeah. What was your favourite division out of all of
them? Super Sedan still at that stage, yeah.
I think I just asked you that question, didn't I? Yeah, that's what I knew. This is why I have a list of questions and I still can't get it right. How many years did you race for, Bob?
48 years, I think it was.
Yeah, righto. Quite a lengthy little bloody stint at Speedway then.
Yep.
And what was your favourite event back in the day? Is there one that stands out?
Well, the favourite one was representing Tasmania at Warrnambool, or Premier Speedway, in the 1971 Australian title.
Yeah, righto.
That I practically think of that every day.
Yep. And how did you fare in that?
I think I run the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 7th in the heats.
Yeah, righto.
I didn't make the final, but just loved getting up in those placings.
Yep. Being amongst it was good.
Yeah, met a lot of friends that I still contact, and
Yep.
Yeah, after all those years.
Yeah, cool, excellent. And did you have a hero growing up as a kid?
Yes, Billy Wigsell,
Yep.
who passed away last year, I think it was, late last year. Gary Rush.
Oh, who can't remember Gary Rush? He was a king, that bloke, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very good sprint car, very good driver, and a very good wheeler, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Biggest achievement when you was racing?
Second in the Tasmanian title when I built my sprint car.
Yep.
Second to Les Redpath.
Yeah, righto, that's nothing to be sneezed at.
No,
Yeah,
I found out later that I was, I think it was my left rear was going down, and I didn't realise it was going down, so I just kept putting my foot down, and she was just hooking up and going quicker.
Yeah, which they do if they get bloody flat or reasonably flat tyres. They soon hook up a bit better, don't they? Yeah. Favourite track back in the day?
Warrnambool was good.
Yep.
Richmond was, I would say, was second. Latrobe, and then Carrick.
Yeah, righto. Richmond, I was only really young when that was first about. I wish they still had the track, because the photos I've seen and the footage I've seen, it actually looked like
that was
nice
go uphill straight off from the pole line. From the start, you went uphill and down the back straight and down and along the front of the tower.
Yeah, righto. Yep. And that was dirt too, wasn't it? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I never ran bitumen.
Yeah, righto. Didn't like bitumen?
No, because it was always like a couple of B doubles.
Yeah, righto. So you never raced at Penguin?
No.
No, righto. Yep. Yeah, that was a wild bit of a track, that was.
Yeah.
But
I've had a look at it. I had a look at it. They were having learner drivers there on that track.
Yeah, yep.
I've seen photos of one of my old cars when Peter and David Turner had it. That operated pretty well around there too.
Yeah, it would have done. Yeah. I remember seeing Gene Cook and Neville Harper absolutely drifting like there was no tomorrow around that bottom corner of Penguin. It was very it was a track you had to have big balls on.
Yep.
There was no ifs, buts or whys about it. When and why did you stop racing, mate? Was it just...
I had a massive heart attack.
All right, no good.
And Yeah, I was a smoker then, and anyway, they fixed it, and I made a comeback and got into super sedans, and my number for the super sedan was 46, and I turned 46-year-old at that stage.
Yeah, right.
So,
and you always had number 46?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Is there a reason behind that number?
no, just because of my age.
Yeah, right. That's one way of looking at it. Yeah, no. Are you still involved in motorsport today?
Not as much. When I go to Queensland, my two grandchildren, Matty McGee and Brodie Fraser, race modified production, late model Commodores, and they're right on the edge.
Yep.
And I love to watch them race.
Yeah, and they're both good wheelers too. I remember I've seen Matty and Brodie both here in Tasmania in the junior days.
Yep.
And Matty McGee was in a world of her own, and so was Brodie. Two good young steerers. And where's Brodie going to end up, you reckon? Is he going to go to a sprint car or a super sedan?
No, he had a bad smash here in Queensland here last season, and was involved in a massive fire and burnt the front off his car, and I think he's had a bit of a battle, trying to get a few dollars together.
Yep. And what about Maddie? What's she going to do in the future?
Don't know, but Maddie's I think she'll get there. She'll drive something. Yeah,
she's definitely a good wheeler.
Yeah.
That is definitely for sure. Was the family involved in motorsport when you was a kid?
Yes, Dad raced, like I said earlier, a Speedway solo bike.
Yep.
A Douglas at the old Maribyrnong Speedway. I can remember back when I was probably 4, 5, 6-year-old, Dad racing those then.
And how good was Dad at it? Was he?
He was pretty good.
Pretty good wheeler.
Yeah,
cool. How many years did your dad race for, Bob?
I think about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, right. Yep. Always on the bike, or?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Only bikes, solos and sidecars.
Yeah, right. What was he, a swinger or a rider?
No, rider.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When he was when he had the chair out, my eldest brother used to swing for him.
Yeah, right. What's your eldest brother's name?
George, but he died when he was 32-year-old.
Oh, that's no good.
The results of an accident, road accident.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who built your cars back in the day, Bob?
Me.
You built them all yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford to buy anything else.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Any help from anyone else, or just all?
My son. He used to help me a lot, and 2 or 3 other young fellas that used to work for me.
Yeah. Wayne raced too, didn't he?
Yeah.
What divisions did Wayne race in?
Wayne raced early sedans, LJ Tirana and a Commodore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I remember the little pink LJ Tirana quite well.
Yeah.
She used to stand out on the track.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you was growing up?
Don't know.
You don't know? I'm still trying to work that out at my age, mate. We've spoken about events on the mainland. You did quite a few trips on the mainland, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go to the Easter Trail and what have you, follow the speedways around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of course it's a lot bigger over there than here in Tassie, that's for sure.
Yeah.
How would you like to be remembered in motorsport, Bob?
The quiet achiever I was once known as.
Yeah, you're very quietly spoken even back in the day. I can remember when I was a kid, and you never used to say a lot, but you'd see this big moe walking across the pits. Oh dear. Would you rather drive or watch motorsport?
No, give me a drive
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of drivers that I've spoke to over the time, they actually can't go and watch if they're not driving. They can't even be a spectator. They get too much of an itchy foot on the sidelines. So, which is, I find that strange in some ways, and then other ways I don't. You know.
Yeah, I love to watch the grandkids racing.
Yeah. Yeah. How many grandkids you got?
The two are in Queensland that race.
Yep. Need some more.
No, I've got another three. One grandson, he's a runner.
Yep.
Long distance runner.
Yep.
And my granddaughter in Hobart, she's a bit of a petrol head. She does Carna crosses and rallies.
Yep.
She loves to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, cool. So it's a big family.
Yeah.
With motorsport. What does it mean to be a Tasmanian in Speedway world? To you?
Good. We're only a small island, but I like to see Tasmanians do well.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got the most Australian titles in super sedan class of any other state in Australia.
Yep.
And we seem to match it pretty well with the mainlanders nowadays, more than what we used to. But I think that's because our technology is now matching the mainlanders, which is a big plus. That stretch of water is not as bad as what it used to be now. What do you think of the modern day Speedway compared to back in the day?
Too much money.
I was about to say, be honest with this. It has changed, and it's
got to spend too much money.
Yeah, definitely too much money.
I know one local guy here that's got $1 million locked up.
Yep. And can't race at the moment.
No.
Yeah. Did motorsport bring your family together and bond them?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, righto. Yep. Do you think that played a big part in making the family bond? Burning the shed and working with Dad and.
Yeah, as long as we're all together.
Yeah. Cool, excellent. What's your favourite division today? I know you said earlier you don't really go near the Speedway much nowadays, but do you still have a favourite division?
Not really, no.
No. When was the last time you've been to the Speedway, Bob?
In Queensland at Kingaroy.
Yeah, righto. That's a good track too.
Yeah.
No, very nice track. Do you have any hobbies nowadays?
Gardening.
Yeah.
Dusting.
Dusting on Jerry's car off, yeah, definitely. Cars you've had that you wish you never got rid of?
Not really.
Yeah. You've had a few over the years though, ago. Yeah. Behind us right now is a very old, very classical sprint car. Jerry Clark owned this back in the day. I think, what year was this built?
1975.
1975, righto. So how did you meet Jerry, Bob?
I think the day that I started sedan racing, Jerry had a 36 or 38 Ford, and we sort of got together that day.
Yep, and been friends ever since.
Yeah, well, until he passed away.
Very. I can remember one distinctive thing about Jerry. He used to always drive one-handed.
That's right.
And he'd have the left hand down on the side of the guard all the time.
Yeah, he used to hold on to the roll cage with his with his left hand.
Yep.
And his right hand, he'd steer, and then he'd grab hold of the handbrake. As these things only had a handbrake. So he'd just make the thing sing for the last half lap, and then just throw the car out and around, bring him out of the, just come from the back.
Yeah. They only pay you for the last lap, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's all, man. So we've got Jerry's car behind us here. What can you tell us about Jerry's car, Bob?
Well, it's a CA replica, which is Colbert Automotive Engineering in California. It was only a replica that Jerry bought from Victoria.
Yep.
But,
and what does she run in a what sort of an engine?
250 Falcon.
Yep.
With a 2V head, running injection.
Yep. Methanol.
Yep. Magneto.
Yep.
CA dog box, which means you're either in gear or out of gear.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, no.
So she's all original?
Yes, well when I got it, it was just a total wreck, except for the fiberglass nose cone. That's all original. That grill is original.
Yep.
The tail piece is original. That extractor, the Falcon extractor, is original.
Yep.
That airbox is original. And the cage is all original.
And it still goes?
Oh yeah.
Still goes.
Yeah.
When was the last time she was on the track?
My son Wayne, we took it over to Carrick and fired it up. And that was the first time it had been fired up since I'd run it at Murray Bridge in 2002. And when I was in the last event at Murray Bridge, it started crackling and carrying on, and I thought I was running out of fuel.
Yep. So
when I eventually came home after a trip up to Darwin and back, I brought it home and drained the methanol out of it, and cleaned it all out, and then we took it to Carrick and put new methanol in it. But when he started it up, it was still crackling and carry on, and it turned out to be the Magneto.
Yeah, righto. Yep.
Yeah, so $350 later.
Yeah. And these didn't run a torsion bar, did they?
No, this was a coil-over car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we going to see it back out in the track?
I don't know. I wish I could see it out again.
Yep. You might have to twist someone's arm to take it back out for a drive. So these had no brakes on the front back then?
No, just rear
on
brakes.
Both sides?
Yep.
Same size. Were they the same size tyre on both sides at the rear, or they run a
stagger?
No,
the same staggers as what it is now.
Yep.
That inside wheel was the passenger wheel.
Yep.
Hence the little skinny rim.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's quite skinny, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
These tyres are very hard to get hold of. They're all Firestone tyres.
Yeah. So when I was restoring it, I got onto a guy that had brought a full set of tyres, two big wideys for the back, which hadn't been grooved.
Yep.
And two front tyres like that.
Yep.
That hadn't been grooved either.
You used to be able to re-groove these two, don't you?
Yeah, so I grooved that.
Yep.
And I made that rim up, and as I made this rim up and put a late model tyre on it.
Yeah, right. I said that's a Commodore rim originally.
Yeah, Commodore rim with an aluminium centre.
Yeah. And what have we got on this one?
That's a Volkswagen rim with a one of my chrome steel centres.
Yeah. I can't get over the size of the bars. Compared to a modern day sprint car, the push bars, for instance, and the Nerf bars, they're just so big compared to what they are nowadays.
Yeah.
I sat in it not long ago, and I think I got about 2 to 3 inches before my head hits the top bar.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away with that nowadays. Of course, the wing's not on it. The wing's out down the back there, put away. Not really enough room in the shed to put it on. The steering wheel, so big in these, aren't they?
Yeah, well, the steering wheel, as I said, when I bought it off Robin Best as a wreck, it didn't have a steering wheel. It didn't have a steering box.
Yep.
It never had a front axle. I made all the front axle up.
Yep.
as I bought the diff. It never had a diff.
Yep.
But I bought the diff off a guy up at Scottsdale, Sap James.
Yep.
He'd come to have a look at the car when I bought it home from Robin Bess. And he said, wasn't there a diff come with it? And I said, no. He said, I've got one up beside the garage. He said, when I go home, I'll have a look to see if it's in the grass.
Yep.
Anyway, when he went home, he rang me. He said, yeah, that diff's there. Come up and get it if you want it.
Yeah, cool.
So, it was ideal. It was a little CAE, which suited the car.
Yep. And what was this car's biggest win or achievement?
Well, on the side here, it's got 10 feature wins.
Yep.
That was for a season.
Yep.
Which still stands this day.
Yeah, right.
To this day.
As the most wins for a season.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And on that side, you can read how many years that he won the. You'll have to read that.
Yeah,
what's
yep.
on the other side.
Yep, I'll have a look at it.
Yeah, but he certainly won a lot of races with it.
Yeah, definitely a wild piece of machinery, very well built. The chassis at the top, the roll cage at the top, that actually bolts on, doesn't it?
That's a bolt on,
it's not part of the actual
no,
chassis.
that was the CAE design, like a bolt off.
Yep. I suppose it'd be handy if you rolled and just damaged that bit, you just unbolt it and put another piece on instead of having to. And these have big side rails down the side. Yep. Very different to modern day ones, aren't they?
Yeah. All the bars I renewed, I made them out of heavy wall aluminium.
Yep.
Where I could tap the hind joints that go into the end, left and right handed threads.
Yeah, right. Yep. And
the Nerf bars, we used to call them the Nerf bars, they're aluminium too, just because they were, that's the style of thing that Jerry had on it.
Yep.
I brought the car back because I had so many photos of Jerry with his car, I wanted to bring it back to as he had it, even to the pinstriping.
Yep. No, it's a very nice piece of machinery. You've done very well with it, Bob. I've seen pictures of it where it was actually started from being built and to what it is now. Hats off to you, Bob.
I think he was the reigning number one driver for Tasmania in this car for 3 years or 4 years, I think.
Yep. He had a bit of a spell for a while too, didn't he?
Yeah.
He sort of got out of sprint cars and then went back into them.
He come back, but it wasn't. He didn't have the get up and go.
I remember we only had a little 327 Chev in it then. But in saying that, I think Jerry finished second or third in a state title with that car.
Yeah.
Which was quite amazing when everyone else was running 366 and 372 cubic inch. How much horsepower are we talking in something like this?
Oh, look, I wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have the faintest idea.
We know it lifts the wheels off the ground.
I do.
Quite regularly too, we've been
because at the time that I took it to Murray Bridge and raced it, the Speedway magazine that came out about a month after, my son rang me up, and I was in Derby up in Northern Territory, and he said, "Dad, you better get the latest Speedway magazine because your car's in it, and there's 4 or 5 different shots, and all of them have got the left-hand front
off the ground
wheel off the ground."
Yeah, cool, excellent. No, it's a very nice car. I really do.
But it was so easy to drive. It was so powerful and so easy to drive. It was just a magic.
Yeah. Limousine, you reckon?
Yep.
Yeah, compared to a modern day car?
Yeah. I was never a Ford man.
No, neither am I. No, I'm not a Ford man, but I like this Ford. Yeah, definitely do. What's your plans for it now? Like just keep it as an ornament?
I've got other things I've got to do.
Yep.
I've got a motorhome that I haven't been to the mainland in yet, and my wife and I just want to
relax.
Relax. I'm too old to.
Yeah. No, you've done well, Bob. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks very much for letting us in today.
I ticked over 76 last week.
76?
And,
Geez, you don't look too bad for a 76-year-old, mate. Geez, I wouldn't have thought of that, actually. Yeah, no, hats off to you, Bob. It's really is a work of art. It's unbelievable. It's even got a little a foot where you put your accelerator has actually got, what do they call them?
Moonfoot.
Moonfoot, yeah. I haven't seen one of them since old VW Beetle days.
Yeah, well, who did I say is on the side, written on the side of it?
Rodney Harris.
Rod Harris came here. He used to have a service station at Latrobe, and he came here. He heard that I had it and was restoring it, and he was looking around. I didn't have it painted at that stage, but he started to cry, and I said, "What's the matter, Rod?" And he said, "There's two things you haven't got in it. That's Moonfoot and a key."
Yep.
And I said, "Yeah, the Moonfoot is the throttle." And I said, "What's the key?" And he said, "Up on the gas tank." He said, "You've got to make up the shape of a key," because Jerry, and I remembered him doing this, used to make out he's winding it up.
He was a character, that's for sure. There's no doubt about him.
He was a clown.
He was, yeah, but he was a gentleman of a clown too.
He was.
Yeah, no, I loved the bloke when he was alive. He was a great man, and he'll be sadly missed, that's for sure. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much, Bob, for letting us come up and have a look at this great piece of machinery and have a look in your shed and having a yak today.
It's a pleasure.
And we wish you all the luck in the future.
Yep.
And we hope you have a great holiday in Queensland. And we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for the next shed session. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you.